Welcome, creators, community, and kind folks, to RPG with DBJ. Of course, I am your host, DBJ, and welcome to the channel. This is another sneak peek behind the scenes. Essentially, what you might expect to see in the new Kickstarter for Level Up Advanced 5th Edition. And today I thought we'd take a look at armor and materials. It's a little bit of a niche element, but this really goes to the heart of the diversity, depth, and choice that will be available in Level Up 5e if you support the Kickstarter and its legacy thereafter. So, today, let's take a look at armor and materials. All right. In Level Up Advanced 5th Edition, equipment gets something of an overhaul with new weapons, armor, and properties, all designed to make each item different from the others. We have over 80 distinct weapons, 18 weapon properties plus 3 ammo properties, 13 armor properties, 4 shield types, 2 helm types, what are we, 8 weapon and armor customizations, and 3 shield customizations. Now, one of the design design philosophies for 5th edition was to make it as simple as possible. And those of us of a certain age, remember when armor and weapons and shields were iterative in design, a mechanism, meaning like armor gave a bonus to armor class, a shield gave another bonus, and the idea behind it was to gain as many, well, mechanical bonuses. Instead, we have, flat armor class. And to that regard, a lot of the weaponry, of course, became flat in the sense of it did a die of damage and it only had very few properties. Now, the design of this level up, advanced 5th edition, isn't to make it more complicated, but just to add more choices. In many ways, more vectors of interaction with the world, and part of that world basically are things that characters use and abuse during their adventuring day. So here's a quick look at armor and the materials it might be made from, and if you're like me and you're part of this channel, you're a world builder. And as a world builder, our minds are always racing about how we can use any kind of hint or any kind of thing that stimulates the mind field to get us to make up a lot of stories. And so, follow along as I describe some of this. Um, I was going to say material because we're talking about armor and materials. How we describe some of the details here, including the materials armor is made from, and then create stories from that. So across the top, we have here, and I hope you can see this if you're watching this. We have the type of armor, beginning here with like padded cloth and padded leather for light armor, and then we go down into like cloth brigantine, hide armor, chainmail or a chain shirt made out of steel, um, versus chainmail or chain shirt made from mithril, and so on. Now, as we go across, we do have gold piece costs and weight for various armors. Of course, that armor is going to fluctuate based on the material it's made from. And then we go over to armor class. And of course, the armor class bonuses may differ based on the armor type, the material it's made from. But let's move over just a little bit more, one more category over. And we have here material properties. And if you take a good look at this, we have material properties, not all of them good. Some of them are negative or positive properties, something like weaknesses, weakness to piercing or comfortable, brittle, something known as a wild trait, low maintenance trait, maybe a high quality trait. And these are um, aspects, tags, descriptors that we can use um, to add to the armor, just like we have weapons, where I'm sure you guys are familiar with reach weapons, finesse weapons, things like that. And this just gives again, we're going for more depth. This isn't very far more complicated. It's just one extra step to allow us to like really delve into maybe a particular culture uses a particular weapon, or the players travel very far and in this other region they're using something else. Like maybe they're used to using or wearing hide armor, and the players need to hide amongst the population. And what does one character do? Well, they take off their normal armor, and a very simple thing, like I'm going to put on the guard's outfit. Well, if the guard is wearing steel chainmail, maybe that's different than a player who's used to wearing, say, leather brigantine. And then of course that has a mechanical effect in the world as well. And the players may maybe they might prefer to wear the lighter armor, or the heavier armor, or the one made um, of high quality or low quality. But let's keep going across our table here and find out further traits. We Some armor requires a strength requirement, and that's normal in fifth edition. That hasn't changed at all. Remember, this entire project is backwards compatible to everything currently released in fifth edition. And this last category is repairability. Yes, damage can be suffered by your armor and shield, helmets, things like that. Helmets do not exist in fifth edition as a mechanical trait, but they do now in level up 5e. But under repairability, it gives us a DC, like a DC 5 or 10 for like padded armor, and it also gives you the tools needed to use them. So now we have a yet another vector of play where there's a reason why players are carrying around their tools, and here's the tools that can be used. And of course, some characters may be proficient with those tools and are needed to repair the armor that the characters are wearing. So we have sewing kit as a possible tool use, smith's tools. Sometimes you might need access to a forge, something like that. So let's page down here further. Mm-mm-mm. As we get into heavier and more expensive armors, we do have things like scale mail made out of steel, or a breastplate made from bone. Breastplate or cuirass made out of steel or bronze, and even elven breastplate made from mithril. And let's move on down to yet another. Hopefully, you'll be able to see this, guys. Let's zoom in quite a bit here. Mm, mm, Here we go. You may not be able to see this, but I'll read it out to you. Now, along with having details for materials, there's also workmanship involved in it. Fine and masterworked items, because some people are just, maybe there's a blacksmith and who can make armor and shields that are of a higher or a fine quality. And so, along with different materials having various weights included with the armor, there's also the idea of people who are highly skilled. There could be maybe a particular nation state or city state has individuals that are highly skilled. We know that classically, elves make very light and intricately worked armor. The same thing with dwarves, using the heaviest, hardiest materials. The idea that um, it, ore that fell from the sky, that a starfall metal is taken to the best blacksmith in the land. And of course, that means they make fine or masterworked items. And so we do have details for narrators to add just a couple more bonuses. And maybe in your world, magical armor, magical bonuses, or maybe you are your gaming group is the type that's not really into giving away lots of magic items, but having weapons and armor that are made from, that are rare, that are passed down through a legacy, that are created by experts or gifted to the characters because of their heroic deeds, or stolen from items that have been stolen by your bad guys and now returned back to the player characters and used in the rightful way. This is a way for the character that's looking for or um, is has a birthright to the proverbial MacGuffin of the Excalibur. Now, this weapon may not be magical, but it might be known across the land, and this is a great way to do that. And also, if you want to arm or dress your particular factions in your world, cults, black marketeers, mercenaries, totalitarian regimes. This is a great way, again, to mechanically reflect the unique equipment and stature that they have in your world. All right, so um, here it says fine items always cost at least full price plus another 50% of the full price, or 25 gold, whichever is greater. And a masterwork item costs at least full price plus either 100% of the full price or 125 gold, whichever is greater. And of course, this is reflected. You need the desire is that you reflect these prices that are listed with the new materials that are available. So for customizing armament, we have traits such as camouflaged. Here in the States, there's something known in American military known as a ghillie suit. It's basically like it is a handcrafted, camouflaged cloak like worn over top of military clothing so that like snipers and gunmen can hide out in the bush. This technique has been used since the beginning of time for hunters and things like that. So having armor that is camouflaged is a trait. How about flamboyant? Creatures have disadvantage on saving throws made to resist being distracted by this weapon, and you have advantage on intimidation or performance checks made with the use of it. We have quick draw for weapons. How about rebounding, spiked armor, stealthy, storage? So like for example, this piece contains a hidden compartment the size of a small vial. Maybe a, a rogue has a set of leather armor with a hidden storage compartment in it, and someone goes to check them because, of course, the guards know that they're up to no good, but they don't find it because of a hidden storage compartment. So these are various ways to customize items, and again, guess what? Players earn gold, they have treasure. This is a good way for them to have an excuse to spend money on these things. And if your players are not used to engaging in the world this way, if they've had 10 years of playing 5th edition and they're not used to seeing these kind of modifications, what a great gift or boon to give to the players. Like maybe they do find a black marketeer that's able to modify their armor and or weapons for a price, or they do come across a faction of mercenaries that when they loot the bodies, they're like, wow, this is interesting. This leather armor is nothing like what I'm wearing. And then and able to like follow clues or things like that. Anyway, here we go. As you move down just a bit, here's some other materials like adamantine, bone, bronze, cloth, cold iron, hide, uh, standard iron. How about leather, mithril, silver, steel, stone, wood? So these are just various traits. And of course, if we take a look across, hopefully you'll be able to see this if you're watching it. There is a weight modifier, whether does it half the weight? Does it increase weight? There's a cost modifier. Of course, adamantine multiplies the cost by 4. Bone armor is only a quarter of the cost, etc. We do have properties, and of course, there's descriptors for all these as well. We have properties like hardy or low maintenance, brittle. Maybe the item is weighty, or it has a weakness to piercing. It could be comfortable or Fey-Bane. What are some other silvered is one. Maybe the item is fortified. So here's a fun one. If you have a iron armor or an iron armor or weapon, maybe it has a property of rust. Right, you're going through a swamp. You've got an iron sword versus a steel sword. It's also iron is very weighty, and this might be a clue as to enemies, especially humanoid enemies that the players may come across. For example, If they know that there's a particular humanoid banditry or enemy that uses a particular kind of weapon and or armor, and they come across maybe um, e- dropped items, broken items, dead bodies, that kind of thing. Maybe they know that the banditry, oh, they use iron swords and bronze shields, and we know that who they are and where they're from, and they see the evidence before they even come across them. So, and of course, lastly, we have repairability. Repairing adamantine armor is a DC 25, requires smith's tools and access to a forge. Some of these are might need smith's tools, like for example, um, for the bronze material, you just need smith's tools. Probably don't need a forge. You can do that out in the wild. There's also sewing kits as well. Continue with sewing kits. Some things are not repairable, like stone armor and weapons, and woodworkers' tools. And of course, when you're talking about stone, mithril, adamantine, cold iron. These very much border on near arcane elements, but again, players go into higher tiers of play beyond tier 1 and 2, and you're going to find these strange and new and wondrous items. So again, let's page back up to the top, give you guys another look. Um, right here, we're just taking a look at weapons, armory, properties, and things. And again, we're looking at choice, uh, diversity of play, diversity of items, just all around. You know what? We want diversity, depth, and choice in Level Up 5e, and so I just wanted to give you guys a quick look at what's coming up. Oh, sorry, forgot to do this. Here we go. New overhaul. I can't wait for you guys to see the 80 weapons, 18 weapon properties, 18 weapon properties, armor properties, new shields, helms, and even being able to customize your weapons. So, guys, thank you very much for your attention. I really appreciate it. By the way, if if you've gone this far in the video, please like, share, subscribe, follow, comment, spread the word if you like this kind of material. Normally Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, WTF, we do um, as much as an hour deep dive into various subjects and whatnot. But um, I, full disclosure, I am one of the contributing writers and consultants in developing Level Up 5e. I am a very small cog in a great, well-oiled machine over at ENWorld. So please take a look at ENWorld. All the other information that you need to find is down below in the video, including this article and everything you need to know. Please stay tuned. Support the Kickstarter. Thank you very much. Have a great one.